How much money should you invest in marketing? That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback. And if you are looking to make big, fat, juicy money doing real estate wholesale deals, then this is your place. If you have not been to our website, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you can get a free gift from me. It's the exact same script that my team has used to lock up over 1,300 real estate wholesale deals. And you can get this absolutely free so that you can do more deals in less time and find those motivated sellers as fast as humanly possible. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script to get your free copy today. So today's question was actually sent in by a listener of the podcast. And man, I just loved it because someone says, how much money should you invest in marketing? Now, the key word there that I love is that he used the word invest, right? Not spend. Because so many people out there, they think, oh my gosh, how much money do I need to spend for marketing? And they get this scarcity feeling of loss. I'm not going to get this money back type of feeling. Versus if you reframe that into, wow, this is just like a stock or a 401k, right? I mean, obviously I was told to do that growing up, right? That if I invest the money here, that I'm going to get that money back plus some kind of multiple of that. So if you think about it, some people, when they invest in the stock market, they say, okay, I want to get a 10% return, right? So they invest $1,000 and they're looking to get $100 extra. We're looking to get $1,000 back and $100 extra at the end of the year. And if you do that, well, you win. Well, here is the beautiful part about real estate investing is that if you put in $1, you should be getting way more than 10% on your money. That's if you're actually active in the business. That's not including a passive investor who just invests their money and they're not involved in the business. But I'm talking if you are an active investor, your money should be returning a lot more than that. And so this is going to start to look very, very, very sexy. So how much money should you invest in marketing? Well, this is a complicated question, but I'm going to give you some answers depending on where you're at on your real estate journey. I can tell you that my goal for you is to make a crap ton of money, right? I want you to be able to buy the things that you want to buy. I want you to be able to do the things that you want to do. And I want you to not have to worry or stress on where that money is going to come from. And I want you to have the time to enjoy it. So this money, we're going to use as a tool, right? We're going to use this money as a tool to invest in your company so that your company can give you all of those things. It's not a slave. It's not a bondage. It's not a burden. It's a blessing, right? You get to invest in marketing. So let's change that frame and put that around here. Now, the key thing is also you will make mistakes, but you will also have a lot of home runs, right? So understand that, but over a collective period of a year, you are going to win a lot more than you lose, and you are going to greatly beat the stock market or any other kind of investment by a large margin because you are a listener of this podcast. So let's pretend you're first starting out and you're figuring out how to invest in marketing. It's going to require that big chunk up front. Now, of course, you could actually borrow this money from someone. You could actually partner with someone, so you don't need money, right? There's no such thing as not having resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness, right? That's what people lack, right? If you need money, go ahead and borrow it or partner, right? And get it if you don't want to go into debt, or get a second job to make that happen. If you're like, I don't have any money from marketing, I don't care what you have to do, right? Find the money. Find it now, all right? If you got to deliver pizzas at night, and by the way, you could probably make $25 an hour right now delivering pizzas, right? Make that happen. You got to get a second job or get a side gig or drive Uber. I don't care. Invest that into marketing. This is the single best investment that you could make, period. All right. And if you don't want to do that, then put that money on a credit card if you don't have the cash. If you've got the cash, use it. Or if you don't want to do that, get a partner who's got the cash, have them be in a silent partner. Just know you're going to give up a percentage of your profits, right? Just that's the way it is. All right. But now that we know we have money, right? And I don't want to hear that you don't have money, right? It ain't going to happen. I'm not going to give you that excuse as a listener of this podcast. So let's assume that you've got 10K to start out, okay? And it's just you. Your job is to turn that 10K into 50K as fast as humanly possible. I'm going to make that easy. Your job is to be to turn that 10K into 50K as fast as humanly possible. So how many times can you do that, right, and get an acceptable return? So if it's just you and nobody else, right, you can spend up to 50% of your money that you're making on marketing, right? Because you have no other overhead, right? If let's say you're cold calling, whatever, you could spend, I don't know, $10,000 and you're making 20 and you're doing great, right? Now, obviously you don't need to spend that much, but because you don't have anything else to spend, right? That's great. So if I'm going to spend 10 and I'm going to make 20, that's acceptable to me. If I'm going to spend 50 and I'm going to make 100, that's also acceptable to me. If I'm going to spend 100 and now I'm going to make 200, right? Hey, that's great if it's just me. Or you, sorry, if you're a one-person show. And by the way, you don't need to spend that much, right? But that's like way high. But understand that if you have no other overhead, a lot of your money should be going into marketing. So do not hold back. Problem is with that is that it's not just you. If you're a listener of this podcast, you're probably going to need to expand at some point, right? So you're going to have to get better at marketing. You're going to have to reduce your income. You're going to have to increase your deal size, right? Which all plays a factor into this, right? Your deal size is a huge factor in what you could spend on marketing, because if you're doing a $50,000 deal or a $10,000 deal and it's the same lead, man, you are going to get crushed by the guy doing the 50, because that guy who did 50 now is going to have it, what, 10, 15, $20,000 to invest in marketing, and you're going to have two? Oh my gosh, right? You are going to get your rear end kicked by the guy doing big deals. So big deals is not a luxury, okay? It is a requirement to dominate, okay? It is a requirement to dominate. And if you do the little tiny little eensy-weensy little baby deals, okay, you're going to get creamed. So that's the way it is. So understand that. By the way, if you do want to learn how to do big, fat, juicy wholesale deals, I do recommend that you purchase the No Limit Sales System. Go to nolimitsalessystem.com to find out more. All right. So once you do have other expenses, you're going to have people, you're going to have software, you're going to have bookkeepers, you're going to have lawyers, right? You may have an acquisition specialist, right? Your price is going to go up. So if it's just you and an assistant, and that's okay, right? You could spend up to 25%. Up to 25%. I don't think you need to spend that much, but you can, right? You can stretch that and push it. And if you're doing bigger deals, right, you can start to ratchet that down a little bit. Once you have an acquisition specialist, right, a ADR, a lead manager, you have to pay them, and the other person, and you've got, your lawyers and accountants and other stuff, right? Don't let that scare you. It's going to be more money in your pocket, right? You could spend up to 15%. This is my personal opinion. Up to 15% of your invest 15% of your gross back into marketing. Okay. And if you do that, you'll have a nice, healthy, profitable business. Now, how do you track this? Because it's really, really important to track this. You don't want to go by gut feel. I like to track my trailing 4 weeks revenue. This is not last month, it's trailing 4 weeks. So what we did the last 4 weeks. So let's assume, and I'm just going to, use the first month of the year. It's January 15th, and you're trying to track your last 4 weeks. You're not measuring December's revenue. You're measuring December 15th through January 15th, because it's more of a gauge of where you're at right now. You can start to respond more in real time. So you want that, and you want to track it against marketing. Now, sometimes there's going to be some issues with closing statements, and I get that, but you at least want to estimate and get a spreadsheet, get some kind of system. So we use a Google Sheet, and if we don't have the numbers 100% back from the bookkeeper yet, we just eyeball it from the closing statement. Somebody else does that, and then we have that. And we look at that every week. How much do we spend on marketing? And how much money do we make? How much money do we spend on marketing, and how much money do we make? Also, how many leads do we get? Because we want to make sure that we're getting that ROI. Now, here's the beauty of this, is that once you create a budget for this, right, you want to have a number. And by the way, 15%, just I want to let you know, is I think the number for a healthy wholesale company. Is you may be spending a little more initially, just understand that, because you have no momentum. Right? You don't have the old leads that you're churning up. You don't have the skill yet of closing, right? And you don't have the referral network. So a lot of this is going to start to compound over time, and it's going to get better and better and better and better, right? And so you may also get some deals free, right? That'll also change those number. But if you put a cap, what this is going to do is this is going to make you get better at your marketing. So you're going to say, okay, look, we spent, I don't know, 10,000 last month on direct mail. This number's creeping up here, right? Okay, look, we could take this part out of the list and this part of the list and this part of the list. And these zip codes, man, we never get deals out of there, right? We've mailed that 5 times. We've never gotten a deal. Let's eliminate that. Okay, what else? Well, I noticed that these houses in these zip codes, we've gotten 3 under contract and nobody wants them. Okay, well, let's take those out of the contract. Oh, you may notice that you might have too many phone numbers, right, that you're using. Okay, well, I'm going to shave off some expenses over there, right? One of our partners recently realized that one of their cold callers, which is a marketing expense, actually was greatly underperforming another cold caller. And so they reduced that expense, they took it out, and now they get to reinvest that into marketing. Very, 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 very important. Okay, so you want to constantly evaluate that. All right. My point here is that you have to be wise with the resources you have, because if you only have a certain amount, then you're going to make that last, right? If you feel like, oh, I have this unlimited amount, or you're not watching it closely, well, you're going to be like, okay, just spend, and you're not really looking to invest. If you're being a good steward of the resources that you have, right, then carefully looking at the ROI and making strategic, critical thinking decisions, then that's when you're going to start to move the needle. Your competition is not doing it. They suck, okay? You don't, because you're listening to this podcast, right? So you want to start to use these metrics, these budgets, these constraints now to get the most you can possibly have. The key here, though, is to now keep reinvesting. Plow it in with discipline. Okay, that's the key word. Plow it back in with discipline, not recklessly, right? I've done that. You don't want to do that, all right? Be strategic, play chess, not checkers, okay? Look at the ROI on your marketing, invest in the right places, right? If you have a team, 15% is about the number. If you don't, and it's just you, it can be more, and it's going to be more initially, but you got to get that number down as fast as humanly possible, right? To that 15% number. All right. So let me summarize. That's a great question, by the way. And the answer is it does depend, right? When you first start out, you must look at this an investment that you're going to get back, right? You are the best investment, not an expense. Your job is to turn 10K into 50K as fast as humanly possible, right? If you don't have that initial money, that's BS, all right? You can get a second job. You can put it on a credit card. You can borrow from someplace else, or you could partner with somebody. But there is no excuse. You have that 10K, or you can get that 10K right now. You want to try to repeat that process as much as you can. How many times can I put in 10K and get that 50K back? When that return starts to wane, right, you got to make some adjustments. So your goal is to get this down to 15% as fast as humanly possible, right? Again, it can be a little bit higher if you have a really, really, really small team. Let's just say you and an assistant, but I'd really, really, really like to see that profit margin, around 30 or 40%. 30 is getting too low for me. You should definitely be at 40% or more for your entire business. Okay. I like to track the 4 weeks trailing revenue, right? Not last month, and the 4 weeks marketing spend, and always try to keep that right around 15. If it goes up 1 month, don't freak out, right? Because you also may have some big deals closing. So the big deals will close, right? And obviously sometimes your marketing budget will look low. Sometimes it looks like you're going over. Don't freak out, right? Don't get too emotional. Just look at the numbers and try to massage them and be aware so you could make strategic thinking. Okay, you want to have that strategic thinking and take a look at that budget, because that constraint is actually a gift. It's going to make you get really, really resourceful. Okay, the idea is for you to invest, but you need to put a cap so that you can maximize your resources. Very, very important. You want to constantly watch this. The other thing, though, is that you've got to keep reinvesting. Okay, reinvesting as long as you're getting the return. And if you're not getting the return, then you have to adjust. Okay, a big part of this, though, I mentioned deal size is everything. 2 people, same mailing list, same investment. One guy does a 10K deal, the other guy does a 50, right? The other guy has $1,000 or $2,000 to reinvest. The other guy has $10,000 to $12,000 to reinvest, and you're going to get creamed by the guy who has 10 to 12. He's going to be able to hire people. He's going to be able to reinvest. He's going to be able to do more big fat monster deals, and you're going to be living in scarcity. So if you want to learn more how to do those bigger deals, you got to buy the No Limit Selling System. Go to nolimitsalessystem.com. Okay. nolimitsalessystem.com if you want to watch some free videos that we have. If you want to buy direct, go to nolimitsalessystem.com/backdoor. And man, I promise you, you're going to just be doing big, fat, juicy wholesale deals because of it. And man, can't wait to have your recording on the show. I'll talk to you on the next episode.